So, first question, how was the comp last week?
I thought you might open up with that one, mate. It was a really good experience, good step up for me, competing against somebody of that level.
What level was he?
He was a two-time European champion.
Oh, fucking hell.
Which I actually didn't know until I was doing my walkout. Like, I knew he was experienced and I knew he was good, but I only found out he was a European champion as I'm walking down the stairs. They're going, introducing this lad, two-time European gold medal, and I'm walking down the stairs thinking, oh, fucking hell, really? Like, I could have told me, you know. But
did it last long?
About 4 minutes.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
No, I didn't embarrass myself, but obviously always feels shit to lose, doesn't it? So
at the end of the day, mate, if he's a European champ, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of them. Didn't embarrass myself, went out there, gave it a crack, came away with a loss, but fighting again this weekend, so really looking forward to that. Are you
fighting MMA this weekend?
Yeah, MMA, amateur debut this weekend.
That lad you fought, he's from Queen's Ferry, trains in Queen's Ferry, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Fights out of, what's Dave Jones, I think it is?
Unit 1.
That's it.
Yeah.
Dave Jones' gym, I think his name is. I'm supposed to be going there to do one of these.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So?
He messaged me that, Dave.
Yeah, they seem like nice lads. I actually met him at the comp last weekend, the lad I'm fighting.
He's only had one fight, hasn't he, from what I can remember?
Yeah, one fight, but finished it in the first round, you know, looked good.
Big lad, isn't he?
Big lad, yeah, but he looks like Brock Lesnar when he was like 17.
I'm Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, you're the real Brock Lesnar. He looks like Brock Lesnar. He looks like Brock Lesnar's daughter. Have you seen Brock Lesnar's daughter? Fucking hell. But it was quite funny, actually, because he came over to me in the car park as soon as I turned up. And I just see him steaming towards me, and I'm like, are we having a straight net? But he just put his hand out and was like, "Hi mate, you're right, nice to meet you. We're fighting next week, aren't we?" I was like, "Oh yeah." Just had a chat, you know. So
for me, like I said before, I want to start from the beginning. Start from wherever you feel like that beginning is on your journey when it comes to the mental health that you've struggled with and all the issues that you've struggled with, and we'll go from there. Obviously, everybody, well, I know the good things that you're doing now in life. You've got 3 or 4 mega things that are going on. So it's just basically the journey from wherever it begins to now, really, and we'll go from there, mate.
All right then. I'll give a little bit about myself and who I am, what I'm doing now, and then I'll go for kind of how I got there. So my name's Spencer. I'm a personal trainer and a mental health advocate, particularly men's mental health. We can get into the why of that in a bit. But so I've trained all my life. I've always weightlifted, and I've always been an athlete and done sport, and that ties into kind of what we do now. So I'm one of the co-founders of Sandpit Fitness.
How many of you? Is it 3, 4?
3 of us, 3 lads, co-founded it. So basically, what happened was in lockdown, when the gym shut, our lifeline was gone, and we just sank into drinking, drugs, everything else. But one of our mates, who's the co-founder, he had a spare room in his, and we converted it into a home gym. So about once a week, we'd go down there, and we'd do a bit of sparring, we'd lift some weights, and the only weights we could afford were these, like, the weights with the sand in them. So, like, you'd be doing, and they were shit. They were absolutely shocking because we were skint.
But better than nothing.
Better than nothing, mate. Yeah, exactly. And but every rep, there'd be sand coming out the weights. So before long, the floor would be covered in sand. So hence, started calling
is that where it comes from?
That's where it comes from. Okay. Started calling it the sandpit. We'd be like, "Oh, do you want to come around the sandpit this weekend, do a bit of training?"
That's cool.
So that's why we've called our company that now, because training for us was a crutch and a lifeline at a time when everything was very, very dark. So that is kind of what we want to do now. We want to help people improve their mental health through their physical health, because we can't understand for the life of us why they're separate things at all. I think there's a two-way feedback between your body and your mind. You know, I don't think they're separate entities at all. So that's the gist of why we do what we do. But for me personally, and why I'm so passionate about it, is because I used to really suffer with my mental health when I was kind of in my early to mid-20s. There were some periods that were really dark, a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs and suicidal thoughts, and at a couple of points I ended up writing a note, you know. But now managed to come through the other side, so just want to hold the door open for people, really.
Yeah, yeah. With the guy that I've just had on, Daniel, he's what was his official title? Basically, he was like a psychologist, and he was saying we need to get to the point with men, or in general with everybody, where we put them crutches in place before the suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
And I suppose this is where you're saying that training, physical training, wouldn't necessarily stop that from happening, but I think it would play a massive, massive part in preventing that lifestyle, that chain of thoughts, that darkness that comes in. Because we both know, like, you know, I've said it on the others, but training last year for me, if without it, be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think training is like, you know, you can take somebody who's literally got a gun in their mouth and tell them to do 10 press-ups and then everything will be sound.
Yeah.
You know, but I think as you know, it can be maybe that one thing that's like something to look forward to, something you can progress in, something you can create goals and structure around and try and get better and progress. And I think that is huge. And just the physical effect it has on the body, you know, the dopamine, the release of the chemicals, the hormones that just make you feel better. For me, I think my theory is as to why people these days are so depressed and so sad. I think obviously, you know, stuff like the cost of living and real world external events do influence it. But my main theory is mismatch theory. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No.
So it's basically the theory that the greater the gap between what you are designed to do evolutionarily and what you do in general will be the size of your unhappiness.
So you're saying that, is that like a social construct? If you something like that, you mean the way that we all generically live sort of the same lives, like robotic? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, the theory is basically that we have just our bodies and our minds and our hormonal profile are adapted to deal with an environment that we don't live in anymore, because we've got so much faster than natural selection. We have to deal with things that our bodies just aren't designed to deal with, you know.
So you're saying, like, basically we're cavemen, we're hunter-gatherer type people.
100%.
And we basically now all we do is, for the majority of us, because of society and because of our lives and children, marriages and stuff like that, we basically doing things that we don't fucking want to do.
Yeah. Well, there's a great book by a guy called Robert Sapolsky called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers that I'd recommend anyone to read.
What's that about?
It just talks about how humans are the only animals in the animal kingdom that experience chronic stress. Every other animal experiences acute stress, you know, starvation, a lion's chasing you.
Yeah.
But they're not worried about the mortgage. They're not worried about the missus. They don't have this long form stress in the background that we have, because we're able to kind of conceptualize things that aren't in the here and now.
Interesting. So what's it called again?
Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers.
Why zebras don't get ulcers? Because they're not fucking stressed.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of ties into my philosophy on what I try and do, you know, with my clients and myself, which is try and do as many things as naturally as possible, you know. If you could do it a few thousand years ago, it's probably going to feel good, you know, running, swimming, walking, wrestling, you know, combat sports, that sort of thing, eating real organic foods. I just think, obviously I'm not saying everyone should go live in a hut, you know. I quite like medicine and my telly and that, and my PS5, but just try and get back to the natural stuff as much as you can, I think, is a pretty good philosophy that will get you a little bit closer to happiness.
That's cool. So you said before that it was your early 20s when you started to struggle. What was it? What was the start of it?
Oof, yeah. Well, I think most of my problems were substance abuse related, because I was a bit of a party boy when I was younger. I'd always be at house parties. I'd always be out drinking when I was like, from 14, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
And then that was fine because I was a kid and like, having new experiences and enjoying life. But then I started getting a bit older and the people around me kind of sorted their shit out, got decent jobs, got in relationships, like were doing their own thing. And I never really got out of that for a while. I was like, all I cared about was getting fucked up. And that's fun in the moment, but it starts to really compound after a while.
Yeah, it gets to the point where it's not even enjoyable, is it? It's just something that you're doing because you've got fuck all else to do, really.
Yeah, 100%. I was probably an alcohol abuser. I wouldn't call myself an alcoholic because I could go a day, 2 days, 3 days without it, but it would be every week without fail, and I'd just get absolutely fucking obliterated.
I think me and you said we agreed that in the mental health group in Manchester, man, me and you were similar in, it was the binge drinking, it was the process of self-destruction and things like that, where you could go 2 weeks and not be bothered. Well, you'd have one bad moment and then boom.
Straight away, yeah. And then as I got older and older and I got, a little bit, it wasn't enough for me anymore, just getting out and getting pissed. So I started graduating. I started getting quite heavy into cocaine and other stuff. And yeah, it's just a very dark place to go mentally, to be honest. It's like, but what's crazy is how normalized it is, because it took me years to realize it was a fucking big problem, because it's like a lot of the people I knew, it was just normal. It's like we'd go out on a Saturday night, we'd have 12 pints, a load of Jaeger bombs, we'd go back to mine, invite fucking 9 people back that I barely knew and didn't like, and then end up fucking
sit there talking with them for hours.
Yeah, you just stood in the fucking kitchen till you hear the birds chirping, and then you hear the birds chirping, you see people fucking jogging, going to work, and you get that feeling in your head that's like, fucking hell, this is fucking dark and depressing, but you push it and squash it, and you're like, people are here, it's all right, it is what it is. You wake up tomorrow feeling like shit, a couple of days of feeling like shit, and then you start feeling okay-ish again, and then by the time the weekend rolls around, you feel all right, and you just fucking restart the cycle.
Scary, isn't it? Again, that was a similar conversation I had with Daniel before, but it's weird that we're constantly stuck in this repetitive, ongoing, work all week. Maybe go to the gym a couple of times, you feel good, but then that, in your mind, that might think, well, I've worked hard enough, I've been to the gym a few times, I can go out and drink this weekend. And that just, you go out on a Friday night and it ruins your whole fucking weekend.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And then you repeat that cycle again.
And if you do it long enough, it ruins your whole fucking life.
Yeah, that's why we're sat here, mate.
That is why we're sat here, mate, yeah. Because it was kind of an accident, me quitting drinking, to be honest. It was like a mate of mine had a big problem with alcohol, and he had a big bust up one night. Again, his story to tell, I won't go into it for him, but like, he just said to me, Spen, can you quit the booze with me for 2 weeks? And I really need you. And he's a good mate of mine, and it was only 2 weeks, so I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do it for you. And it went by, and I just felt fucking great, mate. It surprised me how good I felt. So I just kind of carried it on. I'd like good 3, 4, 5 months sober, and realised that it was fucking 90% of my problems.
Yeah. I've seen something Jordan Peterson said, and he said you can sit at the end of your bed with a pen and a notepad, and you could write down 10 issues that that are fucking your life up on a daily basis. We all know what we're doing wrong. Every single one of us, when we're in the moment and we're moaning, crying, or why is it happening to me? And just take a fucking look at yourself, and then you realise that it's happening to me because of what I'm doing, nobody else. Yeah,
and I think you just touched on something so fucking crucial for mental health as well, that a lot of people, they kind of give you the prepared speech, don't they, when you're going through problems, when you finally open up to them and tell them that you're struggling, and they're like, oh, you need to speak up, we need to talk, you need to do X, Y, Z, you still got value, you've still all this and all that, and that's great, but the most beneficial thing, I think, is exactly what you said, taking responsibility for your life.
You've got to. Like, that's what we spoke about before, but if you can't sit there and look at yourself and address yourself, you're never going to change, and you're never going to be able to help anybody else. And it's not something that you can do over a week, 2 weeks. It's a constant learning curve. I know I'm a lot better than what I was 18 months ago, but I'm nowhere near as good as I can be, because there's still parts of my life that need improving. I still need to do X, Y, and Z miles better. You know, I still have my issues. Like over Christmas, isolated myself again for a couple of weeks. I jumped on the scales, boom, 2 stone, gone. And I think all that fucking hard work I did last year, living in the gym, and then you just think, I've got to do it all again now. But again, all that is learning. Put another tool in place, put another crutch in place. So next time you're better when you go through them issues.
Yeah, I think you never finished, are you? You're never the completed product. And I fell into that trap because I did have a period where I came out, I pulled myself out of my depression.
Yeah.
I remember I had a moment in a beer garden where I was just fucking really drunk, and I was just being really honest to this lad I fucking didn't even know. And he was saying, "Oh, how are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I might kill myself, mate, to be honest with you. I'm there." And he just looked at me and he just said, "Are you going to do it?" And that moment just really stuck with me, because that was like my turning point, really, when I kind of heard what this fella was saying and was like, well, probably not, you know, no. And then I just remember realising, having that moment of clarity, that if I'm not gonna, I've got no choice but to try and make something of my life.
Yeah. So was that the turning point where you thought, fuck this, I've got to do something about it? Yeah,
I think that was my rock bottom, because I had always used suicide, or the possibility of suicide, as like a get out of jail free card for being a dickhead.
I think a lot of us do. I do.
Like, I had it in relationships where I'd be a dickhead, or with friendships where I'd be a dickhead, and then it's just like, oh, well, my mental health, I'm so bad, I'm on the edge, I'm on the verge. And it's like,
this is the reason I am the way I am.
Yeah, and then I think it was just really thinking about it and realising that, well, I didn't want to do that to my friends and family. So if I'm going to be around here, I've got to make the most of it, you know. And that was when I kind of really decided to actively try and improve my life, rather than just being a passenger in it.
So what were the first steps to you addressing you? How could, if somebody was listening to this now, looking at you and going, oh, that's where I am. I go out every weekend. I get off my fucking head every weekend. I'm just doing everything that somebody like me should do. Even though they know it's wrong, even if they're struggling. What, in your opinion, how do you sit there and address the issues that you've got, and then start to implement just small little things? It could be something as simple, and I don't want to, well, I'm going to use Jordan Peterson again, as just make your bed, tidy your bedroom in the morning. Mm-hmm. You could live like a fucking shit, you could be living in a shit house for months. I've done it. I've laid there, Same. I've not had a shower for a week before now. You know, it could be something as simple as as tidying your bedroom and going making a healthy breakfast. Mm-hmm. Day 1. Day 2, blah, blah, blah. What would how would you address that?
That's a great question. And what I did and what I'd recommend that people do are a bit different, because I made some mistakes and I fucked up along the way. Well,
that's how you learn, though, isn't it? That's why you're helping people now.
Yeah, I want people to avoid that fuck around and find out stage. If I could come up with a fucking 10-step program that would just fix people, like, I'd give it for free, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that'd be amazing. But to your question, I think it's a really good question, and I would say, based on my experience, first thing you've got to do before you can start adding things to your life that are going to make it better, you've got to subtract the things that are making it worse.
Yeah.
I think you've got to do what you suggested. Take down a pen and paper and just note down, what are the big problems in my life? Figure out which ones of them you can control. Because, if one of them is like, I've got stage 4 cancer, you can't cross that off, No. What I mean? Some people have some barriers that you just can't overcome. And I think it comes down to figuring out what your problems are, then dividing it into what you can control and what you can't, making peace with the ones that you can't control, and attacking the ones that you can control. I don't know if you've ever been to AA, but no, I haven't, but I've got some mates who have, and their prayer, I think, I'm not into all the religious stuff personally, but I think their prayer is actually fucking brilliant, to be honest. It's, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think that just puts it in a fucking nutshell, really.
I think that the stuff that you can't change becomes irrespective. It's like I don't even think you have to accept it. I don't think you have to acknowledge it, because you can't do fuck all. Like you say, you can't do nothing about it. So it's not within your circle. So it's, that's, I agree there. We've got to start by making ourselves not bulletproof, but learn that it's nothing to do with us. And that's what I did. I took myself away from certain urges, certain places, just in general.
Triggers.
Yeah, triggers. That's a good one. I took myself away from all them, and then started on day one. Mm-hmm. And going to the gym again after not going through COVID and stuff like that, mate. It's tough, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Especially for somebody like you've been, done sports your whole life. I played football my whole life. I've been trained in the gym since I was 20. Mm-hmm. If you're going through stuff like this and you haven't got any coping mechanisms like that, but then you want to implement them, I'd imagine that'll be a lot harder again.
Yes, that's another really good point, to be honest. Yeah, because that was always my crutch and my fallback, like my training and stuff like that, because it was safe and it was something that made me feel good. So it's good and bad, because I think it was such a good coping mechanism that I didn't even realise I had a problem for fucking ages, because I could just about keep my head above water for so long. But yeah, I think coping mechanism is almost like a dirty word, isn't it? It's almost like it's a bad thing. Yeah. But I think for someone who's on the fucking edge, it can be a good thing, definitely. It's like, it's a lifeline, isn't it?
So start again from where we said there, taking everything that you can't control out of your life. What would you say the next couple of steps from there are? Yeah,
so I think before you can improve your life and add things, you've got to subtract the things that are fucking you up, and only the ones that you can control. So that'd be, like, for example, for me, I knew my drinking was causing me fucking loads of problems, and the drugs. So one of the first things I did was just subtract them. Yeah. And I was amazed at the compound effect that had, because I just had so much more energy and clarity to kind of address the other things. So yeah, subtracting all the stupid stuff you're doing, which is, substance abuse, unhealthy habits, food, smoking, that sort of thing.
It's mad with food. You can eat less, a lot less, but have 10 times more energy. Mm-hmm. And that's what I done it last year when I say lost 5 stone. I was eating probably a third of what I was, but when I was fucking depressed, that'd be a pizza, sometimes 2. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think sleep's another huge one. You sort your sleep out, because I know for me personally, my mental health, when I haven't had much sleep, fucking hell, it's bad. Even now, it's like I can have a day where I just feel shit all day, and I think, fucking hell, why do I feel so?
Do you ever struggle to sleep now?
No.
I do. I still struggle.
Yeah. I only struggle because I do shift work sometimes. I still do the odd shift at night, and do PT in the day. So sometimes that causes issues. But in terms of adding things to your life, then the next step, I'd say.
I know I'm putting you on the spot with that a bit. It's a difficult one to sort of explain, isn't it? But just in a nutshell, from your experience, you taking away everything that you don't need. So you've got something like the gym, healthy food. Then what? Then what would you do?
So yeah, once you kind of sorted out the physical side of it, which I think is one of the most important ones in the first step, getting your body working right and moving. I would say taking responsibility for your own actions and your life, and being accountable as well.
Yeah, which accountability is massive, isn't it?
Huge, and I think it can be a buzzword, especially in like the self-development community. But I think it is so fucking important. You've got to just not bullshit yourself. You've got to not hide. And I think as many layers of bullshit as you can remove between yourself and reality, the better. I heard a great quote from Chris Williamson. Follow him. Yeah, I love him. Love his podcast. But,
brilliant podcast, isn't it?
Really good. But
I'll be fucking better.
You will be better, mate. Yeah, I've got 100% faith in you. I love what you're doing. But he had one on self-confidence and like imposter syndrome, which is another thing that I think is a big problem with mental health at the moment. A lot of people just don't like themselves. I certainly didn't, you know. That was a big problem for me, like the self-hatred.
Yeah.
And he's got a great quote on self-confidence, which is, you don't build self-confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by creating a stack of proof that you are who you say you are. And I love that, because it was the only thing that helped me, because self-confidence is something I always struggled with. I always had imposter syndrome. Like, you know, I always had friends and family and like girlfriends who loved and cared about me, and I just thought, fucking why? I'm a piece of shit. Do you know what I mean?
I can honestly, mate, can relate to that so much.
Yeah, and everyone would tell me, like, oh, you're not, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah.
Don't believe a word of it.
Nothing goes in.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is because, and I don't want to, this is almost dangerous saying this, but it's like, sometimes a shred of that inner voice might be true. Like, I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't fulfilling my potential. I wasn't living up to what I could do.
But that's the accountability side. That's holding yourself accountable.
Yeah. And it was only when I started actually actively doing productive, good things that I started feeling like I was a more productive and good person. If that makes sense, it's like
No, I do.
the feeling followed the action. And there was no amount of words that somebody could have given me that would have made me feel the way.
I think you've just got to be honest with yourself. One of the biggest, my missus asked me a question, it was like on a card game we were playing. If you could be forgiven for one thing you've ever done in life, what would it be? And mine would be for the lies that I've told. That's the question that we're going to start with. We'll have a little break now, and then I'll ask you that question again.
Fucking hell, that's deep, that one.
Yeah.
That come out of a card game? Yeah. Fuck me. All right, mate, let's go.
How do you think that went?
Pretty well. It's tricky, isn't it? Because sometimes I open my mouth and I don't know what the fuck's going to come out. Just hope I form a coherent thought by the end of the sentence. But
Yeah, it's part and parcel of this, though, isn't it? Just have a conversation. That's all it is, general chat. So, that question. If you could forgive yourself for one thing that you've ever done, what would it be?
he asked me that, and when we had our break, I was thinking about a lot of like individual events that have happened. But I think I'm going to go with a concept more than that, and that is not living up to the expectations of others.
So do you think that you've done that of you in life?
Yeah, I think my life just has not gone the way I think a lot of people thought it would.
In what sense?
I think when I was growing up, you know, I was quite a switched on lad, to be honest. Not anymore. I've taken too many punches to the head. But like a lot of people said, I was going to do things X, Y, Z. You know, I had an interview at Cambridge, didn't get in.
Did you?
Yeah. I tried to get in the army, I failed. I tried to get in the police, I failed. I had a job as an apprentice at a law firm, good law firm. It was a really good opportunity, and I quit. I stand by those reasons, but I think it's as always been in the back of my head. Like you know, a lot of people who knew me growing up would be disappointed in where I am. So I think I'd forgive myself for that, because I've come full circle with it now and realised that you only get fucking one shot at life.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing what you want to do, then you're wasting time.
There's a reason why you're not doing those things, though, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. You know, that law firm, like, oh yeah, prestigious. But like, it was sat in a fucking cubicle, like 9 till 5, clacking away at a keyboard and coming home and wanting to fucking top myself. So it's not for me. I think certain people, well, most people aren't cut out for that kind of life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I think success is measured in different things than what's in your bank account. So,
What do you measure success on?
oh, fucking hell, you're coming out with bangers tonight,
I'm the
Lee.
fucking top man here now,
Mate,
mate.
firing them off. Great question. Oh, I think fulfillment. So I think if you can go to bed at night and think, I am on the way to where I want to be, that's success.
Happiness?
Yeah, but I think fulfillment.
You'd look at a lot of successful There's a lot of successful people kill themselves, a lot of millionaires, billionaires.
100%. I think, you know...
Happiness doesn't come from the bank account, does it?
No, it doesn't, mate.
I've tried all that. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't, mate, at all. Like, I think happiness, true happiness is fulfillment. Because I think happiness is like, it could be, you know, if I won the lottery, I'd be happy. I'd be buzzing. But it wouldn't be sustainable or long lasting. It would fade, and
that's just dopamine hits, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think happiness is dopamine, because believe me, I've tried to shove as much dopamine as possible into my brain over the years, and never made me happy in the long run. So I think fulfillment is success, and I think that looks like living the kind of life that you're proud of and just having a good impact on those around you.
You haven't got kids yet, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Something that you want in the future, or?
Definitely, yeah.
I think the way I'd explain my success now is I've got a decent job. I've had not like massive luxuries, but you know, I've had a 4-bedroom detached house. I've owned that. I haven't got it no more. But I don't think that doesn't mean nothing unless you're being honest and truthful, and you know, to yourself more than anything. And I think one of the things I measure success on now is the way I am now, the way my relationship is. I don't see my son as much anymore. Obviously, he doesn't live with me anymore, but you know, he's 16 nearly, so he's out doing his own thing, wants to do his own thing. But the time that I spend more so with my daughter, and when my son comes up, when I see him, is more present. I think for a good year and a half, 2 years after they moved out, I think when I'd have the kids, I wasn't present. So I missed some valuable time there. They went from, you know, my son went from being 11, 12 years old to 16. Boom. I'm like, fucking hell, where's that gone? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think I missed a couple of valuable years there, which you never get back, but it is what it is. If I can get to spend a bit more time with him over the next couple of years, that to me would be success.
Yeah, I think you touched on something really good there, being present. That is so vital, crucial. Because that, I think, was a cycle that I was caught up in for years, of not being present. It was what you talked about before, which was just living for the weekend. Yeah. It's like, I've just got to get through X, and then I can do that, or then I'll be happy. It's and then I'll. And that's just not the way fucking life works, is it? No. There's always something.
That and then never comes, does it? There's always something else that'll... It's like when people say, I want to start going to the gym, I want to get better, I'll start on Monday. Well, why not start? It's Thursday, start today.
Yeah, start right now.
You know, Monday, it's always and then. And it's the same with life. I'm going to do this. I procrastinate quite a lot. I've got fucking hundreds of good ideas, but I never do them. But it's that, I think...
But it's a constant thing as well, because I suffered from it a few weeks ago, and me and my missus had a really good conversation about this, because it was going really well for ages. Everything, you know, I was building the sandpit with the lads, my training was going really well, I was building my PT business, I was really happy with the missus, and then I think I just got so wrapped up in trying to build something that I just forgot to live my life. And my missus told me, you know, I'm out all day, I'm out all night, working, doing stuff. Like, she felt like my housemate.
Yeah.
And it was hard to hear that.
You've got to make time. I mean,
Yeah, and she said that you're doing exactly what you tell people not to do.
Yeah.
You're postponing your life, your happiness, your now, for something in the future. And that's great that you want to build something, but you can't forget to live now. And it did hit me, because it's like, I felt a bit hypocritical, because that's something I always try to tell people, but it's a constant process.
I think I've probably been in a similar position with this from last week. I said a couple of weeks ago to my missus, once a week we'll go out, and whatever that may be, it doesn't have to be food or a pub or something, it could be anything.
A walk.
Yeah, anything. And then last week, this just fucking took over me, and I was, at the end of the week, I was like, fucking, I feel a bit broke here. And then she's hinted a few times that we missed a week. So I've took that on board this week now, and what I'm going to do is the time that I spend here, and then one day at home maybe doing this, and then got to make time for myself, because if I don't, you just...
Yeah, that's a huge one that's really helped me as well, because I like to try and pack my days. You know, if I've got 5 PTs and then I've got 2 hours of training, I'm like, right, well, what am I doing in the morning?
Yeah.
I can do this, I can do that, I can do some social media work, I can work towards my counselling qualification, I can do this and that. But I've started now programming in like 2-3 hour blocks every day or every other day. That's like nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
just put the telly on.
That's been really helpful.
Yeah.
And just even little things like being more present, like just fucking putting my fucking phone down when I'm sat at home with the missus. I'm really bad for that. Working on it. Yeah, it does help.
Again, I had the same conversation last week. It's something that I've always done, some for good reasons, some for bad reasons, when I was, you know, years ago. And it's just sort of become like a natural thing. You know, you go to the toilet, you take your phone. You know, and me missus said last week, you know, we need to work on less phone time. So again, that's something that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? Because like we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
Like if I go for a shit without my phone, it feels like I'm meditating.
Yeah,
like it's quite a spiritual experience, and it's a bit of a mental health hack actually. If anyone fancies trying that out, if you're looking to reduce your phone time, go for a shit without it. Sounds stupid, does actually make you feel better.
Like a DMT hit.
Yeah, literally, it's like you just feel like the monk on the cliffside, just with his hands like that. It's nice, mate.
So we've heard the stuff that you've done, the struggles that you've had. So obviously you got the sandpit, you got your BJJ. You're doing a bit of powerlifting now as well, and you know, how's all that going?
Really well. I'm loving it. I kind of just realised this year. I'm 28. I'm getting married next year.
That's cool. Stag do's where?
Honestly, probably Snowdonia. Probably get a load of tents. Probably just set them up at the base of the Watkin Path.
Nice.
Take some mushrooms. Have a little dip in the waterfall. That'll probably do me, I reckon. So I'll let you know the date close to the time, mate. I'll be a laugh. But yeah, I just thought I'm 28 now. I'm getting married next year. I've got no kids. I'm never going to have a better chance to kind of push myself to the limit than now. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to lead by example with my PT business in the sandpit. I'm just trying to see what I can do in a year.
What sort of direction are you going in with the PT? And I know you've got all different types of PTs, but there seems to, from what I see now on social media, every fucker's a PT now. Do you know what I mean? You got people go to the gym for 2 months, get a certificate online, and then all of a sudden they know how to train people. Yeah.
So our niche with the sandpit is kind of...
well, for a start, you got a world record.
We do have a world record, yes. So our niche, I'd say, is what can a normal person achieve if they really put their mind to it. Because the three of us, like, you know, obviously we're like amateur athletes and stuff, but we're not world class competitors. We haven't been bred from birth to do. We're not on steroids. Like we're just normal people for the most part, and we like to think we're doing pretty interesting, mad stuff. And I think part of that is to kind of inspire the average person who hasn't really trained or done much to, like, you know, if you really put your mind to it, if you test yourself and train, you could do some pretty cool things, you know. That's kind of our philosophy. It's like, what can the average person actually achieve?
I think that's a good thing what you're saying there, that you're not these superhuman, fucking massive muscle-bound lads in the gym.
Because that's all you see, isn't it?
And the problem, again, I've touched on this before, but the problem is with, from the mental health aspect, people who are coming out of the depression, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, stuff like that, they walk into a gym, most gyms, and it's either girls who look, you know, edited, or lads absolutely look shredded. A lot of the time, that's what you see in a gym. For somebody, you know, young, old, doesn't matter, who struggled like fuck, they walk into a gym like that and they think, fuck this.
100%. It seems like a mountain that can't be climbed. And, like, part of that is because maybe it is. You know what I mean? Like, you see some of these people, and especially social media, you see the top 1% of the top 1% who are juiced up to the gills, dehydrated, They've only actually looked like that for one day of the year when they've fucking been in a sauna for 3 days, like losing all the water weight. And they post that photo year round as if they look like it all the time. And that's what you see on your feed. And you look at that and you look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh, why don't I look like that?
Yeah.
Must be something wrong with me.
Yeah. And when I said edited about girls before, I don't mean that like negatively before everybody starts slagging me off on here.
We'll get cancelled either way, mate. Don't worry about it.
So what your direction when it comes to PT, and is it just, how would you describe it? Just
so eventually what we want to do, we're all training as counsellors as well. As well as personal trainers. We are PTs and we want to train as counsellors as well. And what we ultimately want to do is combine the two, combine mental and physical health training. So we've done a bit of work with Art and Soul Tribe. If you've heard of them, but quite a local group around here, Flint, and they do a lot with men's mental health and trying to get them active and meeting up and talking and doing stuff. And eventually, we want to kind of do more of that. You know, like we host on a Friday night at Train in Chester, Lift and Chat, which is basically 8 till 9 p.m. Friday. Lads can just come down, and if you just want to lift some weights, just lift some weights. If you just want to talk, just talk. And it's kind of a free form, just open forum where people can talk about whatever they want to talk about confidentially. Everything stays in the group, and you can kind of just share a bit of wisdom, you know, with other people who might have been through what you've been through, and they might have some advice for you. Or you can just fucking vent, complain if you want, you know. Or, you know, if you don't feel comfortable but you don't want to be alone, you can just be there and just lift some weights and you don't have to share anything. So, and I think that sort of thing is kind of what we want to push more. Just getting guys to congregate in productive spaces, because for men especially, like women obviously have mental health problems of their own, and I'm not saying that they're not important, but I think that they have better coping mechanisms than men. You know, they can phone the girlfriends and vent. They can go and meet up and just watch a bit of telly, and that's completely normal.
Yeah.
Whereas for us lads, it's like you just go to the pub and that's it, innit? Really.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the things we want to change.
What about your fighting? Where do you think you're going to go with this MMA?
I'm expecting a call off Dana White any minute.
Yeah.
UFC, baby, all the way. No, I just want to say that I've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to have an amateur fight, and I've been invited to go and fight out in Malta in June as well. Yeah, they're going to pay for my hotel, my flights, give me a bit of money. So that'll be a cool.
You haven't even
experience.
had one fucking fight yet.
I know. Yeah, I must look good in training, mate. You know what I mean? That's it. But yeah, so I think just see where I can go with it.
How did that come about? How did you get that?
Training down at North Wales Fight Academy.
With Danny.
Yeah. I think he had a heavyweight dropout and they needed one to come in. So I might be getting fed to some absolute monster, but you know, free holiday in Malta. So
that's it.
Sound, no problem, mate. I told my brother and he was like, I'd fight a grizzly bear for free holiday, mate. I was like, yeah, fair enough, Sound.
Yeah.
So,
I was supposed to be getting Danny on as soon as. Now that I know everything's right, you could start.
That'd be good, because I haven't known him for long, but he's been coaching me for this, and I've got a lot of time for him. And
he's got a story as well.
Yeah, and he's doing, and again, I haven't actually talked to him about this, but from what I see in the environment in the gym when I train with him, he's doing kind of the same sort of thing that we think is so valuable. He's creating a community there, like a team of lads. And you can tell it's just a safe haven for a lot of those lads, you know. Well, it's not very safe in that you're getting booted in the head all the time, but like, it's a nice environment to be in. Like, it's productive, it's helpful. I think it's what men need. So
that's cool. And then you said, what did you say? You're training to be a counsellor as well?
Yeah.
How's that going?
I'm not going to lie to your audience, it's not going fucking well, mate. I've got some work that I need to submit that's about a month overdue, and it just keeps going to the bottom of my to-do list.
ChatGPT, mate.
Mate, I'm going to have to, you know, because I'm on the last questions now, and it's like...
Put it into ChatGPT.
I'm going to have to, because it's just fucking taking me so long. I keep getting emails like, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, and it's like, again, feel like a fraud because I'm just not fucking doing what I need to do, but that's life. You learn, so...
That's cool. So, I think that pretty much wraps it up, mate. I've got 2 questions. One, which you've pretty much answered there, is what do you see your biggest achievement being in the next 12 months? What, for you, if you could pick one out of any of them, what would it be? What would your biggest achievement be?
In the next 12 months, probably getting married.
Nice.
I reckon. Yeah.
Personal achievement. What would you say? I know marriage is a personal achievement, but something that you could look back on and go, I'm fucking proud I did that.
Oh, fucking hell. Mate, you're coming out with some really good ones here.
Ranked number 1 on Spotify by next week, mate.
Mate, I think so. Well, I'm entering Liverpool's Strongest Man in May.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Big John Thompson's training me for that one.
That's cool.
So I think...
You've got a lot going on then, haven't you?
I just fucking... You only get one life, you only get one body. So I'm going to really run it ragged. Want to run a marathon this year as well, so fuck it, why not? But yeah, I reckon if I can win... If I can go 2-0 MMA, if I can win me fights, go undefeated in MMA.
That's cool. And then, if you could sit around a dinner table with 3 people from history, 1 being family, who's no longer here, and 2, it could be fucking anybody. Could be anybody.
Oh, mate. Family, it'd probably have to be my granddad, Ernie, because he passed when I was about 13, 14, and I knew him and I loved him, but I never got the chance to talk to him as an adult.
Yeah.
So I'd love to just hear a bit about his life, because he was a pretty interesting guy. That's
cool.
By all accounts. And I can't think of a third one, so I'm only going to go with one other one, and that would be Marcus Aurelius. Because I just...
A little bit stoic, eh?
Very stoic, mate. I love stoicism.
I listen to a bit of Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, brilliant. Like that book, Meditations, that it did change my life. I don't want to get all too fucking cliche about it, but it did, just change the way I thought about a lot of things.
I was telling Daniel before, I've just bought Miyamoto Musashi's book, The Book of 5 Rings.
Yes, mate of mine recommends that highly.
Does he? Yeah. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to. Yeah. I've got about 15 books there now that I've got to read. I just keep buying them.
Yeah, I know. My pile's getting bigger and bigger as well.
We've had a few. We've had Jesus, Bruce Lee, Miyamoto Musashi. I even said Hitler at one point, just to ask him what the fuck he was playing at.
Yeah, you'd want to know what the fuck's going on behind the scenes there, wouldn't you?
He'd be a fucking crazy character to speak to.
And you could knock him out as well.
Oh, he'd definitely get a headbutt at the end of it.
Glasgow kiss for Hitler.
Yeah. No, you can't. One more? Let's get one more.
Oh, okay. One more. Fucking hell. All of human history.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single person.
£1 million question.
I know. Bruce Lee would be a good one.
Yeah, we've had him. He'd be a good one.
I'd go with Bruce Lee just because he was like the godfather of modern MMA.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool to.
I keep changing every time I ask somebody this question. I keep fucking changing mine. Achilles, I think would be one.
Yes, that would be a cool one.
Alexander the Great, maybe somebody like that. Genghis Khan, maybe.
Yeah,
they'd be cool ones. That's it, Paul.
Question.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you having me on, Lee.
And you.
Good to see you again, mate.
Job done.